Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing here on this Thursday morning? This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How you guys doing? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Good Morning Reganelite. We're going to be looking at today's daily quota. We're going to be looking at local weather, and we'll be looking at UK news specifically here today. We're going to be looking at The Guardian, Sky News, BBC, Independent, the iPaper, Financial Times, The Times, The Telegraph, and if we have time, we'll have a look at Byline Times and see what headlines they've got in there as well. This live stream goes for about approximately an hour. We've just started here at 11 a.m. UK time specifically as well. Janet, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Mr. Skiam, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Alison here as well. Good morning to you. And anybody else lurking in the chats. Hope you guys are all doing well. Here is today's daily quota. Here we go, just for reference here. If you can see it, can you see it? I'm not very good at holding it up towards the camera. You should be able to see that. I'm sure you guys can. It's from Annette Kelly, today's daily quota here. So, never forget the people who were there for you when you needed them the most. Through the lows and the highs, they are there. Solid and steady, they are your people. Never forget the people who were there for you when you needed them the most. Through the lows and the highs, they are there. Solid and steady, and they are your people. It's a very nice one. That's a nice one. I like that one. I think that one was a lot better than yesterday, if I'm honest, guys. But so a nice one for Friday to see ourselves off for the week as well. There's a nice one for tomorrow as well to see ourselves off for the week. Just a quick reminder, guys. I'll remind you guys before we end the live stream as well. Tonight, 8 o'clock, myself, Daily Blase, One Angry Pagan, and Graham Price of Power to the People will be coming together for roundtable chat tonight at 8 o'clock. Do join us for that if you can. Also a reminder, next month on the 13th of Thursday, the 13th of November, myself and Dave McGuinness will be on the roundtable chat. Need to obviously get 2 more people, but I've already got Dave McGuinness has agreed to join us. Asked him last night on this live stream, so he says he's got the day off, which is fantastic. So looking forward to have him on there as well. Russell Cannon, good to see you there. Indie Duck as well. Ellie, good to see you all there. Hope you are all doing well. Right, let's have a look at today's weather, see what the weather is like out there, guys. Here it is today for 7 o'clock right now, guys. Excuse me. So we can see most of Europe here. Rome 20, Nice 18, Madrid is 19, Lisbon 21, Palmo 21 there, Zagreb 17, Vienna 12, Prague 12, Bern 9. And you can see, obviously, up in the mountains, there's obviously snowstorms there, nice in Europe. I can't remember the last time we've ever had when was the last time the UK ever had a snowstorm? When was the last time? Answer on a postcard, please. Paris 10, Brussels 10, Berlin 13, Warsaw 14 there. Kiev 11, Moscow 5 there. Oslo 10. And all the way up in Reykjavik in Iceland, 0. As well, because that's how cold it is there. If we have a look here at the moment today, so as we guys know from the time that right now 1 o'clock really pretty much, this is currently the weather storm that obviously came overnight, and obviously still I'm sure many of you guys can felt it overnight, the rain and the wind. I did close my window. Normally I like to have the window open overnight, but because of the noise I thought it was better just to kind of not bother with it, so I ended up closing it there. But temperatures in the UK, London 10, Cardiff 11, Manchester 11, Edinburgh 9, Belfast 10, Dublin 9 there. Temperatures could reach a bit higher, yeah, it could go a little bit higher, but nothing too big there. But you can see there a bit later on there, it gets quite chilly. It can get quite chilly there all the way up till midnight. It's even as cold as 6-7 degrees in some parts of the UK overnight there, so it's going to be a very chilly night there. I didn't watch all of Politics Social, Alison. I just popped in just to say hello. So I don't know what Graham was talking about on his live stream. I literally just popped in because I had so much work to do before Graham, not before Graham, but before Dave McGuinness went live. So I didn't even have a chance to put it on. I wasn't just sitting here on the computer. I was literally running around doing bits as well in the house as well. So So you'll have to elaborate on it, my friend. Friday overnight into the morning here. We can see that there's still lots of scattered rains and showers here. Obviously still continuing on, but it looks like the weather is weather and temperatures have nothing to really too much to stay the same. Let me bring up the wind actually, because we haven't looked at what the wind brochures there. We can see still going to be some high winds around here and there as well. And I'm a bit exhausted, guys, because I've been running around a lot this morning. Temperatures as high as 12 degrees, Edinburgh 9 there, and we can still see there'll be lots of showers still around tomorrow as well as today. It'll be scattered. It's kind of going to be off and on. So sometimes you'll have a lot of rain, sometimes you'll have no rain for a little period. So it's going to be off and on. So my advice is obviously, basically be prepared for rain, wherever your plans are, whether you're working, going out, whatever you're doing. Just be advised that you're gonna come across some rain, most likely somewhere around, guys. Is what I would expect here. Going into Saturday here and the next day here, and we can see temperatures there still staying around the 9-10 degrees mark even overnight there, but still going to be very chilly. But going into Saturday next day there, we can see the rain still around, although it seems to start clearing up in the next day. Yeah, from the looks of it, might be a few parts of the UK that may experience some rain there, but overall Saturday looks like it's going to be mainly a dry day. And I say mainly, it's not guaranteed, of course, there, but it looks like it won't be too bad on Saturday for us, which is a good sign there. Yeah, it seems to be mainly the rain seems to be going around out in the ocean. Maybe there will be some bits hitting parts of it, but overnight on Saturday into Sunday morning there, we can see temperatures going to be very, very cold there. Edinburgh 5, London 6, Cardiff 6, Manchester 5, very chilly on Sunday morning there, so please be aware, a lot more colder than it has been the last couple of days, guys, so just be aware of that. And going into the next day there, temperatures will expect to rise as high as 9 degrees there. Yes, Sunday's going to be very chilly. Yeah, it's not, some places maybe 10, but yeah, it's going to be very cold there. But it looks like there's not going to be too much rain. Okay, maybe in the early morning on Sunday there might be a bit in London. In the late evening on Sunday, Scotland might experience it. Northern Ireland's going to experience it. Overnight on Sunday into Monday there, into Monday the next day there, overnight there's going to be some showers there from the looks of it there. But it looks like, yeah, Monday might be a bit of a clear day most days as well from the looks of the weather there, just for reference there. Alison, thank you so much for the £2 super chat just to get the goal started. Yep, thank you so much. Appreciate it. 4 more super chats for today's goal. What was that about? Everyone was just saying good morning. 4 degrees here in Edinburgh, getting cold. You need your big coat on, folks. Yep, yeah. Do stay warm. Yeah, because it's going to be chilly. So you're probably looking at me and wondering, well, Regan, why haven't you got your jumper on? Because I've been running around and I'm a bit warm right now. That's probably why, guys. So I do have a vest under, as you can notice as well. But don't be. I'm gonna probably pop out to the shops after this as well. So English paper headlines: 1 in, 1 out, back and back and back at it again. What about the inquiry? Totally different from Scottish papers. Thank you for that. I was watching. I watched most of Dave McGuinness's show. It's only the last like 5 minutes that I 6 minutes that I kind of stepped away from it. To be fair, thank you for that £5 super chat. Yeah, I'll touch on. I did hear his thoughts on it. I'll touch on that in a bit. I'll touch on that in a bit. But thank you for the £5 super chat. Appreciate it. Right, so we touched on it yesterday. Jess Phillips has full confidence of the Prime Minister, says Minister after Groom Gangs inquiry. Groom Gang survivor says inquiry will fail if she stays. Pretty much what the logist is that Jess Phillips needs to go in order for those who left the inquiry to come back into it. Basically, they've lost faith in her. This is the part where, like Angela Rayner, like other politicians in government, when they say they have the full confidence, it means that it's a ticking time bomb at this point. The chances of her surviving are slim, are very slim now. And it's actually like, I do actually think this is devastating because, you know, Jess Phillips is somebody who is very passionate about this, who has worked very hard about this. And I generally do think there are smoke and mirrors happening here as well, because this is someone who generally does care about this. I don't accept this premise that she's doing it all for political point scoring. I really don't think so. Not from everything that she has done, everything that I've heard about her and the work that she's done. Like, would she really have done that just for political point scoring? I don't think so. I really just find that hard to believe, especially on something as sensitive as this. But it's a real shame that they want her to go, considering everything that she has done. It's very frustrating. So I don't think but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think she's going to be lasting long. Is that the type of brain that makes your gender regardless of your body, male but female brain, body, but female brain, female body but male brain? Oh, that was the link I posted. Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Oh, okay. Is this about transphobic and transgender? The conversation is what you were talking about. I'm assuming that's what the conversation was about. Something along those lines. Yep, Jess Phillips has fall back in the PM. Equipment Gains inquiry. Voters go to the poll in Calabria by-election, in Katia Philly by-election. Katia Philly. I can't say it, guys. I do apologise. That could mark historic shift for Wales. Can Reform UK get this? That's the good question. Plaid Cymru and Reform UK has run fierce campaigns in Labour-run South Wales constituency. Voters are heading to the polls today, and a by-election could mark a historic shift in Welsh politics. Labour has run the Welsh Parliament since the devolved administration, but established in 1999. And Caerphilly has been one of its strongholds, but opposition parties hope to form the next Welsh government have run fierce campaigns in the South West constituency. Caerphilly, says Kirsty. Polling stations open today. They close 10 p.m. The results expected in the early hours tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll have the result. Recent polling, Plaid Cymru and Reform UK has been forecast as the two biggest parties in Wales this next year. The result could be a bellwether for the seed elections in May. It's likely to be treated as such by the victorious party. The by-election also comes as a run-up to a vote on the Welsh Government budget, which has heaped even more pressure on the Labour campaign. When passing its budget in March, the government needed the help of the opposition members to get it through. While Labour is the largest party in the seat, it does not have a majority, and the budget vote in January could be even more difficult if the party loses the seat. Speaking at a press conference there last month, Nigel Farage announced Reform candidate Leo Powell and pledged to throw everything at the campaign. Plaid Cymru's candidate Lindsay Whittle is a long-standing councillor in the Penhyrfawr ward and the leader of the group in Caerphilly Council. The Labour candidate is Richard Tunnicliffe, a financial analyst and publisher. The candidates fielded by other parties. I'm not really too interested in the other party names because they're not gonna get very far. The by-election was called after the death of Hing Wang David, a Labour politician who was elected there in 2016. There will be an inquest into his death in April. It really is a toss-up between Plaid Cymru and Reform UK, that one. It really, really is. I hope it goes Plaid ways. I really, really hope so, guys. Person says I grew up in Caerphilly. I do apologise if I mispronounce the name. I really do. The young lads talk about fighting all the time and how much they wanted to kill the English. I hear it has improved. I wouldn't go back though. It was still a mining town when I lived there. Reform talk correct me if I'm wrong. Haven't Reform UK talked about Reform Russia? Sorry, have talked about wanting to open the mines in Wales, in parts of Wales. Is that what didn't they say that, like bring back the coal industry and all that kind of stuff? Isn't that something that they've tried to pitch as well? I mean, obviously they keep going on about immigration to the Welsh people, even though it doesn't affect them. I'm pretty sure that's one of their policies. So something along those lines. 1 in 12 secondary pupils put in isolation rooms at least once a week are study fines. Children with special education needs more than twice as likely to be put in isolation, says Manchester researchers. Once a week. 1 in 12 secondary pupils being put into social isolated rooms at least once a week, where they often spend in the excess of 8 hours, missing more than a full day's of lesson, according to research. Children with special education needs were more than twice as likely to be placed in isolation, otherwise known as internal exclusion, while students from low-income backgrounds were also disproportionately affected. Pupils on free school meals and were more than 1.5 times more likely to be placed in isolation than their wealthier peers, researchers found from self-report data provided by pupils. Children who identified as LGBTQ+ were nearly twice as likely to be in isolation. Yeah, because they're being victimized for who they are. While black, Asian and mixed heritage children were more likely to be in isolation than their white British peers, the research from the University of Manchester found. The use of isolation, and in particular isolation booths, were becoming a growing source of concern among some parents who complain about the overly punctuate system that harms their child's education and mental health. Isolation usually involves removing a pupil from the class for disruptive behaviour and asking them to work alone or in silence or in a separate room. But parents complain the children can be put into isolation for minor breaches of school rules, which those with complex behaviours and special needs might find difficult to adhere to. Unlike suspensions and permanent exclusions, there are no national rules on how isolation should be used or for how long, and there is no publicly available national data. Okay, well, first of all, I think there should be data on this. I think there should be national data on this. Is my first point. My second point is that while I understand the criticisms of the isolation method, I would say try to put this in the perspective of the teachers here. You know, the teachers have a very as well. I understand the parents. And I understand the psychological impact it could have on the children. I totally understand that, and I totally respect that position. But try to put it you got to try and put yourself in the shoes of these teachers, right? They have huge amounts of children in their classroom that they have to teach. Yeah, some of these classrooms don't even have an assistant teacher. What are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to do their lesson if they've got a disruptive pupil? They've got to take that child out of that classroom so that they can be able to do their job and teach these children. Yeah, you can't have one child consistently disrupting the entire classroom and be a problem. So what is their solution? The only solution is if they're not going to behave, the only solution is to take them out of the classroom and isolate them. I know it seems a bit strong, but it's incredibly difficult right now for teachers. Now, it depends obviously on what the disruption is and what the child is doing, and I accept that it varies for each child's child. But while I do sympathise with parents and certain children on this matter, especially as someone who has gone through special education needs myself, I totally understand that perspective, and I've actually been removed from class and put into isolation as well. I've experienced that as a child, so I know what that is like on a personal experience. But it is the best solution from these schools. I do think there should be data on this, and I think it should be tracked, and I think it should be recorded, and I think it should be something that parents should be entitled to know their data on the schools and how much they do this as well. I do think it is something that should be recorded, personally. Yes, Reganelite and fracking and dig for coal also. Yeah, they said fracking. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Unlike suspensions, permanent exclusions, yeah, I said that already. Manchester study published in the British Educational Research Journal is the first large-scale investigation into internal exclusion. The researcher said it shows the practice is more widespread and harmful than parents and school leaders realise. The analysis survey from the #BeWell program and the study of young people's wellbeing on a survey of 34,000 pupils at 121 mainstream secondary schools across Greater Manchester. Yeah, bear in mind this survey is obviously across Greater Manchester, so I can't. Obviously, I'm more of a London, so I can only speak from my experience in. Well, it wasn't even in London; it's North London. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't even London-esque. It was more in Hertfordshire rather than London, to be fair. It wasn't London I was born and raised. It was more in the more on the Hertfordshire's, on the edge of London, shall we say. They found 8.3% reports being placed in isolation at least once a week. On the average time people said they spent in isolation was 8.5 hours a week. Those put in isolation complained about the sense of belonging, suffering, that they had poor relationships with teachers and lower levels of mental well-being. The also question is how long do you put them in isolation for? How much of it needs to be here? Because the problem is right. And again, I look at, I understand the teachers and people's point of view, but you also again look at it from the pupil's perspective, but look at it from the teacher's perspective, right? You isolate that child. Okay, you put that child back into the classroom, and then they start causing it again. What are they supposed to do? You're gonna have to put them in isolation again. You know, nobody wants to see children excluded, but at the same time, they can't afford to have children causing trouble either. I was in isolation for school for not going to school when my grandfather died. When I lived, they built the bungalow as they were poor to buy a house. Eventually taken to court for not going. Yeah, because punishing the kids for stuff that's not their fault has always worked well. I've been trying to explain more and more the science of both sides of the argument. There has been shouting down so many times and called for bigots are crazy. So appreciate that. Yeah, again, like I've experienced it, so it's not like that. I don't understand the child's perspective here. But my solution is, what is the alternative? Like that's a general question, right? If you think isolation is not the solution, what is the alternative? Because you can't have the entire classroom disrupted by one child. What is the alternative here? That's my general question to you in the chat. If the solution is not to remove that child from the classroom, if they're not going to behave, then what is the solution? Because you've got so many other children that are education that are going to be affected. It's not right that everyone else's education is affected by one child. And yes, it's not right. It's and there's a point's been pointed out. Yeah, children are all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of circumstances why they have the mentalities and the mental health that they have. And I accept that. I do accept that premise. But I don't know as an alternative solution. I honestly don't know an alternative solution to not do isolation. So if someone has a better solution, please feel free to add it in the comments, because I don't know what alternative solution that teachers have in this situation. Because this is the thing that I will say, yeah. And I know people are not going to like this, but I would rather that child be removed from the classroom so that the rest of the children have the best chance of succeeding in education, than trying to hold on to that child to give them something of an education while disrupting all the other children. I think I know where I would go. I know it doesn't sound fair on the disruptive child, but I think I know I think I know my position there. But obviously, the question is about how long they should be out in isolation and all that. And it's a case-by-case basis, of course. Every child is different, as I'm sure we all understand. Good question. More teachers, I agree. Other children have a right to be educated. It's about the balancing needs. Yeah. Well, I know from people, from family. I know 1 or 2 family members who are teachers, and they don't have assistant teachers. They don't have assistant teachers. It's just them in the classroom. Like, explain, like, how are they supposed to manage when they don't even have an assistant teacher? What are they supposed to do? I'm obviously speaking from England's perspective here. I can't speak for the other nations, but it has to be someone with empathy. Talk to these children. They need they need attention. They have issues. Yeah, absolutely, Kirsty. You're absolutely 100% right. I 100% agree on that. For those, I know I'm dwelling on the subject a bit, but you know, as somebody who got expelled from school, I ended up in an all-boys school. I ended up in a special education needs school for a long period, and our classrooms were very small, so we had the care and the attention that was needed for all of us to succeed, because we all came in we all had temper problems. Some of us still had temper problems long after we left, unfortunately, but some of us, it succeeded. You know, that school changed my life, changed my direction, had a big impact on me, you know, so I know, I've been through it, you know. But a lot of these kids these days are not as privy to have gone through what I went through, and they don't have that support. That's a big problem. It's one we can go on about all day, guys. Shamima Mama said, "Damning report showed Home Office is not fit for purpose." Is this just another, like? It just feels like to me about passing the buck or blame game. This sort of thing here. Home Secretary vows overhaul the previous secret 2023 review list of series of perceived shortcomings. She said the Home Office was not yet fit for purpose after releasing a damning report that was kept secret for years. The review, written under a previous government, uncovered a series of perceived shortcomings, including a culture of defeatism on immigration, a lack of trust from other departments, and severe confusion and conflicting systems. Does this sound like something that Priti Patel or Suella Braverman would run? Kind of office like that? That does sound like that kind of place that they would run, guys. Written by the former Home Office Special Advisor Nick Tomry in 2023, it has been released after a 2-year legal battle by the Times. Responding to revelations, Marmot, who took over as Home Secretary from Yvette Cooper in September, vowed to overhaul the department, which says it has been set up to fail. TFE was given access to the department during 2 months' review, found an excessively defensive approach among the Home Office's lawyers, and a reluctance among senior officials to tell difficult truths to ministers. He reports that too much time is wasted on identity politics and social issues, with staff spending work hours in listening circles to discuss their feelings in such matters. What? After finding was the distrust from other government departments who became particularly uncooperative after the Windrush scandal. One of the impacts of the falling highlights of the reported crisis was the crisis at the Manston Asylum Centre in Kent in 2022, failing over optimistic forecast led to serious overcrowding, 18,000 people being unlawfully detained in horrific conditions, as well as an outbreak in diarrhea scabies. The crisis prompted the Home Office to admit it had lost grip of the situation. This month, Coronel found that the Home Office missed opportunities to access the mental health of the asylum seekers before he was moved on to the Bibby Stockholm barge, where he died in December 2023. It's not fit for purpose. No, the Home Office, I think we can all agree it's never been fit for purpose for a good while. Whether it'll ever be fixed is another matter. Anything else worth looking at here? Lloyd's profit plunged 36% as it feels the impact of the UK finance scandal. Are we surprised? Thames Water ranked the worst supplier in England as firms' ratings hit a record low. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. Renewable energy investment should come from defence budgets of retired military leaders. Yeah, this is not the first time we've heard people basically saying that it should come from the defence budget. Katie Adams yet to hear complaint 2 weeks after being taken off BBC Scotland radio. UK campaigners launch a bill to give nature legal rights. Private members' bill backed by Chris Packham and Natalie Bennett would impose a duty of care on government and business. A radical proposal to changes to the legal status of nature will be launched today in the House of Lords with the unveiling of the UK's Nature Rights Bill initiative. The Private Members' Bill, aims to legalise, enshrine the idea that there can be no lasting economic progress or social justice without respect of the natural world, and to change the legal status of nature from objects, property and resources to a legal subject with inherent rights. If it were to go into law, it would explain that the group behind the bill established a legal duty of care towards nature and create a governance structure of natural and bioregional councils to implement, monitor and enforce the bill's provisions, aimed at the promotion of sustainable and regenerative practices across all sectors of the economy and society. The initiative is supported by Chris Packman, Dale Vance and other prominent environmentalists and will be submitted to the former leader of the Green Party, Baroness Natalie Bennett. We're looking for a seismic shift in law and policy making, said Mulbar Itu, the founder of Nature's Rights, which has led the bill's drafting process. We need to encode a new consensus in law with laws that protect human nature as the very basics of life. The initiative comes amidst a global rise in nature right campaigns, which are gaining traction amid frustration over humanity's ultra-exploitive relationship with other species and growing concerns about the shortcomings of technology and market approach to the climate crisis. Just a little bit more. Ecuador, Bolivia, Uganda, US, Canada, Brazil, New Zealand, Mexico, and Northern Ireland have some recognitions of rights of nature in their constitutions, national laws, and local regulations. Court decisions in India and Colombia have recognized the rights of ecosystems and rivers. The UN is exploring the legal implementations of the rights of nature, which have been raised at the international gathering of the UN Environmental Campaign and the Convention of Biological Diversity. I'm in favour of this bill. Pretty much, in short, yeah, I think nature needs more rights. And that their rights are and the rights of it, and actually it's going to get taken away even further if we get Reform Russia in government, because they will want to damage the environment even more than ever before, guys. My first school was a specialist school for person said for Theodomos sufferers. I lived 5 doors down from the school, so I went despite not suffering myself. The school had a full staff complement, luckily. There are lots of people there that needed it there when you were there if you needed it. Yeah. Mr. Skim said, I literally went to the worst school in the country on the school league table of Tians, believe me, it was bad. Biggest school in the southwest. It got pulled down and rebuilt in the end. Oh my god. I left school with no qualifications, but did Open University and got 87% of my finals and stuck 2 fingers up to everyone. Well done. Seriously, Miss Skim. Fair play to you, mate. Fair play. Fair play. Fair play to you. Let's see. I think that's everything from The Guardian. Yeah, we're giving up at least well over 20 minutes, 25 minutes of it to them. Stomach's playing up again. What else? What have they got here on the front? Let's just go to UK first before we look at politics. Analysis piece between Farage and Poloski. They have, but one thing they have in common. They're radical. Farage and Polanski are radical. I think is the best way to describe them. One thing they have in common. Radical is a good word to describe them. Tessa Daly and Claudia Winkelman to leave Strictly Come Dancing. Oh wow, they're actually going to leave. Who are going to be the new presenters? That's they've been presenters for such a long time. Those two. Wow. It used to be before them. It was Bruce Forsyth. Rest in peace. That's quite a shift in the program. It's still very, very popular for people. King Charles praying with the Pope in the 500-year moment. Storm Benjamin hit the UK. Yes, it did. Government urged to adopt new definition of Islamophobia in full. Manchester gig by pump rap duo Bob Vylan postponed. Cow burps have a big impact on global warming, but scientists think they have found a solution. Oh, they think they found a solution. Interesting. Let's have a look at what else they've got here. All survivors who quit the Goomingay inquiry will return if Jess Phillips resigns. If she resigns. Yeah, that's why I think her position is untenable. You know, I think just think the clock is clicking. Let me just see what the latest progress that returning small boat migrants was identified. Lammy claims 34 minutes ago. The Justice Secretary David Lammy and the Deputy Prime Minister claims it is progress that small boat migrants deported to France who subsequently returned was spotted. The Minister said today's news actually reveals that the individual who spent thousands of pounds trying to get to this country as a result of the biometric data can be sent back, and that is progress. And of course, we will continue to work with France to ensure that people are properly intercepted and that be able to do that in a way that is efficient and productive. I've always maintained that that is a pilot. This is the beginning. It's an important step, but there are many, many, many more steps to take, both with France, but with other European partners, all of whom remain very worried about these gangs. I've always said, guys, like, safe legal routes will fix this problem. Speaker can't give time if MP wants Prince Andrew debate. Why would he? This is the Parliament trying to protect the Prince here, trying to protect the royals. His statement essentially says he cannot give parliamentary time for criticisms of the Prince under convention through things like urgent questions. Wow. However, if MPs can do it through be given time via the government or the backbench business committee. He doesn't want them having a conversation about Prince Andrew. He doesn't want them. This is him trying. He will give debates for other conversations, but he won't do it for this. Absolutely ridiculous. No worries, Janet. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Government has confirmed that 2025 has overtaken 2024 for the number of small boat crossings. Figures released today show that 220 people crossed in 3 boats yesterday. That means it's 138 more than people across this year than did across all of 2024. However, 2022 still remains a record year for crossings. Government forced to answer more questions on China's spy trial collapse. Former Home Secretary criticises Labour for arrogance, thinking that they could fix the small boats. Shadow Minister Chris Twat says something. Oh no, that's James Cleverly there. Liz Truss says something which we don't care about. Phillips has to fall back into Prime Minister. Home Secretary says Minister. Of course he would say that. Former Goomingay Inquiry Chair candidate still has confidence in Phillips. Okay. Summer failed state to smash the gangs at Leaders Summit. What a surprise. That's just some of the live feed there from Sky News there. Let's see what the BBC are saying here, guys. Source of Miliband's energy bill pledge casts doubt on savings. Energy Secretary Ed Miliband promises to cut energy bills by £300 could be wiped out by rising electricity costs, according to experts behind the savings estimate. Miliband's pledge, which he's understood, stood by the face of fierce criticism from opponents who say it's unachievable, based on a 2023 report by energy think tank Ember. But the author of the report, the economics, I can't say that name, has told the BBC the analysis needs to be updated to take into account the cost of offshore winds and other factors. Spokesperson for Miliband's department said the UK government remained determined to bring down the bills for good, stand by the commitments. Well, the bills aren't going down, they're still going up, mate. Comes as former Labour Prime Minister Tony Blair thinks think tanks call for government to shift its focus from clean power to cheaper electricity. In a new report, the Tony Blair Institute said the transition to renewable energy continues in the way that raises costs, weakens reliability, and weakens growth, and it will fail both practically and politically. You have to, Tony, you got to transition. Like, just they have to transition. You can't not do the transition. The report suggests that the government's Clean Power 2030 plan should be reformed as Cheap Power 2030 and argues that carbon tax on gases should be axed to lower energy bills. UK government insists the plans for clean power to be produced at least 95% of Great British generation by 2030 will lower bills by that date. 2030! They insist the plan for at least 25%, then 95%. Mission went exactly how we want to deliver to down goals. Miliband's department insists that he's already delivering many of the policies that have called the Tony Blair Institute's call for, including expanding nuclear power and speeding up the grid connections. Gas and electricity bills went up 2% for millions in England, Wales and Scotland under energy regulator Ofgem, latest price cap this month. Last week, Ed Miliband told the BBC the Labour government stood by its promise to keep lower energy bills by £300 by 2030. He said energy bills were high in the UK because of our dependence on fossil fuels and the spike in the price of gas since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Energy prices increased drastically in 2023 following the invasion, and although costs have gone down, they have remained high by historical standards. Energy experts said our high wholesale costs have primarily been driven by the UK's reliance on gas and its exposure to its volatile prices on international markets. I know one angry pagan is really behind Ed Miliband, and I to a certain extent I am to a certain extent on Ed Miliband because he is one of the most. He's probably the only minister in that government that is probably one of the most safer, one of the so-called good guys, and I do say so-called with big quotas because obviously how we feel about many of the other ministers there. But I just kind of wish personally, if they just freeze the energy bills, if they could just freeze the energy bills for 1 year, it would give me a lot more confidence in the government, because then it would say to me that they generally do care about this cost of living and they're trying to help people. Like if the Chancellor announced in the budget that there would be a 1 year freeze, just a 1 year freeze or a 2 year freeze, something like that, yeah, on all our energy bills, right? And I don't know where they would get the money from. Don't ask me those questions, guys. I'm not detailed. But if they just freezed our energy bills, at least freeze them, right? Stop an increase in many of our bills, right? That would give them a lot of credit. That would make me think, okay, maybe this government actually does care about this cost of living. Maybe it does care about how much money I have in my wallet. If they did something like that, I think it would generally help a lot of people. Reeves considering tax hikes for lawyers and accountants. Polls open for the by-election today. Cabinet crowd into Commons for Rayner's resignation speech. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I do have it on Twitter. But it's about 8 minutes long. But when I was getting content last night, I did add it to my bookmarks, but I didn't have time to watch it all. Reform-led council asked residents to consider 10% tax rise. That's not what you promised. You promised to reduce to cut taxes. Your party, Reform Russia, promised to cut taxes. Residents across an entire county are being asked for their views on a potential council tax hike of up to 10%, as well as the prospect of millions of pounds in cuts. Waterfordshire County Council is currently consulting on the 2026-2027 budget, with people invited to give feedback by the 1st of November. An 32-page document, it asks people for their opinions on a range of council tax options because, according to Rob Charlton's cabinet member for finance, the council is in a very, very challenging situation. Opposition councillors voiced concerns over the suggestion, accusing the reform-led authority of seeking justification to cut services to the bone. That's what it sounds like to me. They're putting it out there to people, basically trying to get permission for the constituents to say, you guys think, we should do that. Okay, we'll definitely do that based on the situation we have. This is their way of basically washing their hands clean of the situation, basically. This is what it sounds like to me. It's definitely what it sounds like to me. Document states that Reforms administration is currently working on a planning assumption that bills will rise by 5%, which could add to around £80 a year to the annual mid-range Band D weight. Also warns that councils under significant financial pressure, with the authorities planning to make widespread cutbacks, and asks the government for exceptional financial support of £43 million to help balance the books. The council has had to use the same mechanism to borrow £33 million for this financial year, or face declaring itself bankrupt. Mr. Walden said the council is keeping all our options open, and explained it would need permission from the Secretary of State for any increases over 5%. But there are some people out there who are quite happily to pay extra tax to fund public service at this stage. It's about incorporating everyone's views, he said. He added that he would move heaven and earth to keep rates down, and plans to focus on selling off assets like Council Hall to provide further income. Selling off assets, right? At the moment, Warwickshire County Council has its third lowest council tax bill in the country at £1,615 for Band D household. The consultation also asked people what services should be the focus for savings, including areas like social care, highway, libraries and schools. Opposition councillors have voiced concerns over the scale of the financial challenge ahead. Councillor Adam Kent, opposition Conservative group leader, said it would be absolutely nuts if the council tax went to 10%. This again blamed the government for not providing enough funding for key services. Why should Warwickshire residents be penalised? Labour councillor Richard Dole said they're looking for justification for a slash and burn policy, so they cut service to the bone, and the consequences will be severe. Yeah, it does at the end of the day come down to national decisions as well. It's decisions by the government and what funding they provide to councils as well. So there is that question. So it's not just councils; it's also on the national basis there as well. Food prices rise is slowly as UK inflation remains at 3.8%. Former Labour MSP in court accused of possessing indecent images and vulgarism there. Prince Andrew story, which I'm not interested in. Migrant was removed to France, returns to the UK on a small boat. Migrant has returned to the UK on a small boat after being removed to France in a one-in, one-out scheme less than a month ago, the BBC understands. The Guardian newspaper reported that a man who had been a victim of modern slavery at the hands of smuggling gangs in France. The Home Office declined to directly confirm the report, but said a migrant had been detained at the removal has been so as source possible. 42 people. BBC understand the man's Iranian national was listed as detained. Is this someone we pay taxpayer money to send back to France, and then this person has been sent back again to the UK? Is this my understanding? I already know the scheme is bollocks anyway. But am my understanding that taxpayer money has just been wasted on sending the man back to France, and he's basically got back on a boat and crossed over again? Am I getting this right, chat? Male migrant who the Guardian had not named told the newspaper he returned to UK because he feared for his life in France. Speaking about the alleged treatment of the hand smugglers, he said they took me like a workforce, forced me to work, abused me, and threatened me with a gun, and told me I would be killed if I made the slightest protest. You have to also remember that migrants can make all sorts of stories up. We don't know that. This is their claim. Now, it's not to say I'm not saying that his story isn't true, but they can literally say anything here to say anything here to say that their life is in danger as well. And that I need to put that context in there. I know it doesn't seem right to say that, but I do need to add that context there. We will not accept abuse of any of our borders. We'll do everything in our power to remove those with the legal right to be here. Individuals who are returned under the pilot subsequently attempts to re-enter the UK illegally will be removed. Your understanding is correct. So we've wasted taxpayer money on a scheme that was never going to work. I said it didn't going to work, and it's not worked. I think we all knew it wasn't going to be working anyway. Just a reminder, guys, we'll be. I saw One Angry Pagan there in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Myself, One Angry Pagan, Daily Blase, and Power to the People's Grand Price will be on tonight for the round table. Do join us for that. If you can, it'd be greatly appreciated. Why the hell is the doorbell ringing? I'm sorry, guys. I need to answer that because someone just left the house. So my apologies. Give me one moment. Sorry about that, guys. Oof. Ah. Parcel delivery. Yeah, it was a parcel delivery, Kirsty. How on earth did you know? It was a parcel delivery, yes. All right. I think that's enough on the BBC there, guys. Let's switch gears here. Might go 1 or 2 minutes after, maybe. Maybe. Good, yeah, good call, Kirsty. Good call. Let's have a look here. Let's see if we've got UK politics. France may not intervene to reverse small boats in the Channel. They don't need to. They don't need to. Grooming gang victims call for Jess Phillips to resign. France migrant deal, a return fail, shows deal is working. Wait. Hold on, let me read that again so I'm not going mad. Labour minister says 1 in 1 out France return fail shows scheme is working. Labour minister John McAllister said that the failed 1 in of the 1 in 1 out deal with France proves the scheme is working. Speaking on Time Radio, was a quiz about the Iranian man who had been removed from France for returned to Britain on a small boat. The male migrant told the Guardian newspaper, being a victim of slavery having in North France. If you come here illegally, if you cross it, you've scaled up to French, you'll be deported. No, it doesn't work! It doesn't work! It doesn't work if you send them back and then they get back on a boat and they're crossing over again. We just literally said that. No, it wasn't them, Pagan. Wrong answer. That wasn't them. It wasn't them that came at the door. But it was. I'll let you can keep guessing who it was, which people. But my God, how is it working? It's not working. The guy literally came back on a boat after you sent him back to France. You've just wasted taxpayer money. It doesn't work. You've just proven it doesn't work. I need to hear Zoe Gardner's thoughts on this. I need Zoe Gardner's thoughts on this. She will have the better answer for it. 3.6 billion scheme could lift 650,000 people out of policy. Scrapping the 2-child benefit cap could lift 650 children out of poverty. Yep, we know that. Institute of Physical Studies has said this. But is she going to do it? Better late than never is all I'm going to say. I mean, it's just, I'm glad if she does it, if she does announce it, but we still don't know. The cap introduced by the vile Conservatives in 2017. Oh my God, do you really have to? Goddamn adverts. I hate them so much. This is the one thing I cannot stand about the Independent guys. Sorry, my screen is frozen right now. Sorry, one moment. The screen is deciding to freeze. Page is frozen. Come on, Independent. Come on. Okay, you know what? I'm going to come out of the page. It's been super slow because of all its bloody cookies, guys. Sorry about this. I had to step out there from chat, says Alison Keir. Only 9 likes, folks. Yeah, only 9 likes. What? There's 22 of you guys, 22 people in the chat, and there's only been 9 likes. Why have you not hit that like button, guys? Right, Independence. Right, so back on now. Okay, here we go. Chaos for Grooming inquiry. A second candidate pulls out. Second candidate for chair pulls out. Reeves plots tax raise on lawyers and GPs on crackdown on the wealthy. This is exactly the kind of thing we want to hear, and this is where the left are winning, in terms of politics here. Because I think I said this last night, and I'm going to say this here: when you have Zach Polanski pulling the kind of numbers that he's pulling in memberships at the moment, and polls indicate that they are starting to rise in numbers on polling as well, that's a cause for concern, especially with young voters going green as well. So what Labour are doing is they're going to look, they're not completely copying the Greens, of course not, but they're going to take 1 or 2 ideas or pull some left-wing politics in order to appeal to their own base so that they don't lose them to the Greens. And this is one of their ways of doing this, because right now a lot of the things that Zach Polanski is saying is relating to a lot of ordinary people. And what this is doing is forcing, or shall we say, shifting the goalpost for the government, because the government, obviously getting pulled by the right and pulled by the left, if they don't want to lose the left sides of things in politics, they need to shift some policies that are beneficial to green voters, people on the left, young voters, and that's kind of where that this is why I think she might be doing some taxes on the wealthy and on some wealthy in the society on some parts. I'm going to say I would not be surprised if she announces not the kind of wealth taxes that the Greens Party are going to be talking about, but she's going to announce some things that will affect wealthy people in society that may take some money off them. I do think she may do that to try and appeal to people on the left. I think that's going to be coming in the budget. Downing Street's top civil servant on the brink of being ousted. Why? The most intelligent dog breeds. I can't open that, guys. It's a sponsored. I can't do that. Council U-turn after woman issued a £150 fine for pouring coffee down the drain. What? What is this? Council U-turn after woman issued a £150 fine for pouring coffee down the drain in London Street. Wait, what? An £150 fine was issued to a woman for pouring the dregs of her coffee down her own drain. Has been cancelled, the council has said. What the hell? Young Vales from Keele, South East London, was approached by 3 law enforcement officers after she poured her drink from a reusable cup down a gully road river, not knowing it was illegal. It's illegal? She was issued a fine under Section 33 of the Environmental Protection Act, which states it is illegal to deposit or dispose of waste in a way likely to pollute land or water, including pouring liquids in the street drains. I didn't actually know this. Really? Really? This is new to me as somebody who goes through London. Wow. I was not aware of this. Richmond Council could have appealed the fine by this occasion. The council has therefore decided to cancel the fixed penalty notice. Speaking before the decision to drop the fine. Feels quite unfair. I think the fine is extreme. It's not appropriate. Yeah. She claims she felt she was acting responsible by pouring out the liquid to avoid spilling it on the bus she was boarding. Yeah. I noticed my bus was approaching, so I just poured the leftovers bit. It wasn't much. It was only a tiny bit. As soon as I turned around, I noticed 3 men enforcement officers chasing me, and they stopped me immediately. Richard Council spokesman said the authority have reviewed the officer's body footage camera. The officer has acted appropriately and with sympathy, they said. It's now calling for the law, which she's been unaware of, to be made more obvious to the parket with signs near bins and bus stops. Yeah. Fixed penalty notice clearly outlined that there is an appeal process available to anyone who wishes to challenge them. That is likely this case progress of being... I've not seen a single sign, I've been through London a lot, okay? I have never heard of this law. I've never seen any signs of stating this law. This is all new to me, guys. This is all new to me. And I'm pretty certain... I don't think I've ever poured drink down a drain, but I'm going to say a lot of people have done this and not been pulled. On this occasion, the council has therefore decided to cancel the fixed penalty notice, returning waterways, keeping our borough street, including also review the advice on this. I have never heard of this law. Never. This is new to me. Unbelievable. Caffeine can half an effect of wildlife, to be fair, says one angry pagan. Waste of a coffee. What if it was water? Like, what if it's water? Is it different if it's water? Like, what if I poured water down the drain? Would that be different, or would I still get fined? Like, now this is opening up tons of questions here. Right, I've only got 6... Well, we're going to go a bit over the time anyway, because I stopped the... a little bit over, just a couple of minutes. Let's have a quick look at the iPaper here. All the ways the Home Office failed on immigration according to the Darwin report. Labour allowed developers to cut affordable homes target in return for profits. What reforms Kent Nightmare means for a Farage dream of becoming Prime Minister. I don't think it's changing anything right now. Bet it was Starbucks. I have never bought a drink in Starbucks. Ever. I have never bought a drink in Starbucks. I've gone to Cafe Neo or Costa Coffee. I have never given my money to Starbucks. Why? Because I don't want to give my money to them. I just don't want to give my money to them. I think that's me personally. Water should be okay, but caffeine is actually a drug. As a drug, remember. That's true, but there's no notices of telling people that they can't do it, as far as I'm aware. And I've been in London, like, I can't remember how. Like, I've been in London more than 1,000 times, you know, in my life, and I've never been told of such a law. Anyways, online tools to crack down on your lost pension could be financially ready this year. Raise income tax, Reeves was told, as Labour split on budget emerges. What supplies? People are complaining about the budget. She was never going to... Whatever the budget is going to be, she's never going to please everyone. And yet petrol, oil, diesel, brake dust all get washed down the road, drains, but not get fined for pouring coffee. But you get fined for pouring coffee. Exactly! Like, so many other things get poured down the drain. Like, here's the thing. Like, to be fair, like, for me personally, like, I don't think I've ever had a drink where I've not finished it. But normally what I do is I don't pour it in the drain. If I don't finish it completely, I just toss it in the bin. Even if there's a bit of liquid, I toss it in the bin. Just because it's never crossed my mind to pour it in the drain, me personally. It's never crossed my mind at all. I mean, I don't like pouring a bit of liquid that's on my finished cup or whatever into a bin, because it means someone else has to clean it up. Because that part of me feels guilty, you know. The only Starbucks I bought was at an airport. Never again, said Peter. Kirsty says always avoid Starbucks and McDonald's. I've tried very hard to avoid McDonald's, but my partner sometimes goes to McDonald's. I know she's terrible. Labour allowed developers to cut affordable homes. Stephen Miller is now Trump's Rottweiler. Yeah, we knew that. How UK main storm shadows are helping Ukraine as Trump differs on tomahawks. Is this the end of Strictly Come Dancing? No, it's not going to end, because people love it too much at the moment. I don't think the show's coming to an end. I just think obviously the host leaving is obviously a big shift in it. Financial Times, what they got here: grooming gang victims call for minister to resign from the inquiry. Collective DC schemes will play a significant role in pensions, says UK minister. Remember all these ones on the right hand side here, these are all just opinions and explainers here. Blair's think tank urges Labour government to review 2013 Clean Power Pledge. Just a reminder, guys, if you want to help me achieve today's super chat goal on the live stream, minimum £2 you can do as well. I'd be greatly appreciated if you can. If we can reach it today. UK regulator rejects call to slash bank capital rules on sovereign debt. Cigarette butts cause more damage to things. Yeah, that one's an obvious one. Obviously, I'm not a smoker, but yeah, that one is definitely more. I think bins have something. Most bins have something where you can get rid of it easily as well. The bin designs that are in London, they're very, very. I do like the bin designs because they have like separate. Some of the bins obviously designed like got separate stuff and all that kind of stuff. Lawyers and accountants warn Reeves against tax raid on partnerships. Reform UK's crypto support is a trade that works for both of us, apparently. Reform Russia. I've said that there. Let's have a look at the Times here. It's an odd picture for Jess Phillips there. Smirk one here. A bit of a smirk. Or sorry, say grooming gang victims say ministers should quit. Farage in the cold as Rayner eases back into backbench comfort. Who is Baroness Casey and what will she add to the grooming gangs inquiry? Minister's plan a law to protect wetland. Justice Judge reduces red tape. Starmer backs inquiry into Prince Andrew over lawyer Rog. Ministers let NHS make patients wait longer to save money. Is that true? That's coming from the Times though. Reeves moves to make NHS GPs exempt from £2 billion tax raid. What would a reform win for Calais by-election mean for Labour? Well, it's either way, really. Whether it's them or Plaid Cymru, what does it mean for either of them, to be fair? Some of the others, these were yesterday's stories here. They've got a couple of yesterday's stories. Let's have a look at the home front page of the Times, see what they've got here. King and Pope. Strictly Come Dancing again. Europe's drone war won't stop Russia, says German Defence Minister. Trump announces a tremendous new raft of sanctions against Russia. How British firms unwittingly helped build Putin's submarine defences. Still can't get over that submarine breaking down in the English Channel. Oh, that was so funny. Life sentence for teenager who stabbed classmate during lunch break. Excuse me. Any other stories here? No. We'll have a look at the Telegraph and Byline Times before we go, guys. Thank you, Alison Keir, for the extra £2 super chats to get over today's goal. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate it, my friend. F off Blair. Yeah, F off Blair. Yeah, he should F off. Yeah, you're right, Angry Pagan. He should. The Cooper can make up all sorts of obscure rules a lot on the hoof to catch people out and find them. Sounds like easy revenue generator, said Russell Cannon. Yeah, that does sound yeah, that does sound a bit like that as well, to be fair. I know we're over time, but let's just run through the Telegraph and see what the Byline Times are saying before we go. Telegraph. Trump hits. What? They always got this private medical plan here. This is the Telegraph saying you should go private with your healthcare instead of relying on the NHS. This is what that's what this is. That's what this advert is. They always have that on the top there. 1 in, 1 out migrant back in. Trump hits Russia with tremendous oil sanctions. British universities in China ignoring communist brainwashing on campus. I don't know about that. That sounds a bit far-fetched to me, but okay. Teenage murderer danced with Harvey Wilgoose, lay dying. Royals block security on Prince Andrew's peppercorn rent, apparently. Pro-Palestine protester threatens to behead Israeli lecturer. How about IDF soldiers shoots child in the head? That sounds. What about that headline instead, Telegraph? Why don't you say that as well? Those are some of the stories there. Let's have a quick look at just quick nose on politics if it lets me. Oh yeah, she literally said that. Caroline Levitt said that to a reporter about asking where the Trump meeting would be. And the reporter asked who suggested Budapest, and Caroline Levitt decided said your mum did. Like, talk about schoolboy like reporting there. Ask the White House a question that they dislike, and they'll reply your mum. That's literally it. It's a effing joke. Edmund Band, I'll build new nuclear stations in Scotland if SNP is kicked out. I don't know if he said that. But I wouldn't be surprised at all. I don't know if he said that or not, but that's what they're saying in the Telegraph. The grooming gangs rapists are mainly Pakistani Muslims, not Asian, apparently. Starmer creating toxic Downing Street after briefing against top civil servant. Pete Hegseth has lost respect to generals. Yeah, well, of course he has. You know, he was that meeting, you know. Yeah, that's exactly how you talk to reporters and just say, and you just do name calling, guys. That's where we go to, name calling nowadays. Nigel Farage is Putin's problem. Thick as fees, front page of the Byline Times paper. You could still buy it. I don't know if it's still available in your local papers, shops and whatnot. There, that's the front page of it there. What they got at the moment, just some of the stories there. UK government failure to investigate foreign interference challenge in Europe's highest court. The real energy scandal the media doesn't tell you about. 2 major Ukrainian cities lose power overnight as Russian infrastructure attacks more growing and more effective. Celebs go dating presenter Eden Blackman accused of violent abuse. What Nathan did next. Kremlin back forms how to stop a Western democracy there. And some of the other stories are old. Let me just have a quick look at this front one. Fossil fuels. Interest colluding with billionaire-owned media companies to block the UK's transition towards a cheaper and greener energy, argues Donald McCarthy. Yep. pay switch for switch to wind farms. They've been accused of waging war. Yeah, this is what the right wing will try to basically try and put people off the energy, off the transition. That doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all, guys. If I'm honest. Oh, Alison, thank you for the for that super chat at the end there. Appreciate it. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I know. She has to say your mom. Yeah, I'll just wait for Maggie Reed for her to do a video on that. Dropping litter in general is bad. When I smoke outside, a half a tin or put the depends into instead of the lid to it's not difficult. Yeah, I never drop litter on the floor. You know, I've ranted and raved about it in the past. I'm not gonna rant about it here. So, guys, we've gone 5 minutes over time. It is the afternoon. It is lunchtime for me. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who come along. Thank you guys to those who gave super chats today. Really, really appreciated. I will be back tonight. Myself, One Angry Pagan, Daily Blase, and Graham Price of Power to the People for the round table at 8 o'clock tonight. If you can join us for that, please feel free to do so. We'll discuss some of the latest news that's been happening in the UK and maybe stuff outside of that as well. It's just a round chat. We'll probably go for about an hour and a half, something like that. So if you want to join us for that, feel free to do so as well. I'll also be back again tomorrow at Friday morning at 11 a.m. as usual. But thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. If you can, on your way out, please hit that like button. Share this across social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon as well for exclusive content on there. And thank you all again for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.